Good morning, everyone. Today, I am going to discuss about our subject is all about internet-based computer operation. And today, I am going to discuss first about introduction to Windows. The oldest of all Microsoft operating system is MS-DOS or Microsoft Desk Operating System. MS-DOS is a text-based operating system. Users have to type commands rather than use the more friendly graphical user interface or GUIS available today. Despite its very basic appearance, MS-DOS is a very powerful operating system. There are many advanced applications and games available for MS-DOS. A version of MS-DOS underpins Windows. Many advanced administration tasks in Windows can only be performed using MS-DOS. The history of Microsoft Windows dates back to 1985 when Microsoft released Microsoft Windows version 1.01. Microsoft aims was to provide a friendly user interface known as GUI or Graphical User Interface, which allowed for easier navigation of the system features Windows 1.01. Never really caught on the amazing thing about Windows 1.01 is that it fitted on a single floppy disk. In 1987, Microsoft revamped the operating system as released Windows 2.03. The GUI was very slightly improved but still looked similar to Windows 1.01. The operating system again failed to capture a wide audience. Let's go to number 1. The function of the introduction to Windows is what is an operating system and basic Windows. Windows is an operating system designed by Microsoft. The operating system is what allows you to use a computer. Windows comes preloaded on most new personal computers or PCs, which helps to make it the most popular operating system in the world. Windows makes it possible to complete all types of everyday tasks on your computer. For example, you can use Windows to browse the internet, check your email, edit digital photos, listen to music, play games, and do much more. And then, let's go to the different types of Windows operating system. Various versions of Microsoft's Windows operating system has existed since the 1980s, while the operating system got its start on personal computers. Today, versions of Windows are available for a variety of devices, including home and business PCs, tablets, phones, and commercial servers. Next, Windows OS versions for the PC. The initial version of the Windows operating system launched in 1985, introducing users of MS-DOS, the text-based operating system that was in the main Microsoft OS to graphics and the computer mouse. Windows 1 and a number of subsequent editions essentially world run on top of MS-DOS and rely on DOS for many features rather than running as true standalone operating systems. Windows 95, one of the most famous early versions, was released in 1995. Amid a huge marketing campaign by Microsoft, it introduced the world of the famous Windows Start menu. It was also the first version to feature Internet Explorer, Microsoft's first web browser. Windows ME, released in 2000, was the last to run on top of DOS. The next year, Microsoft released Windows XP, which was used at many businesses for over a decade and received praise by both critics and users alike. Subsequent versions included the less successful Windows Vista as well as Windows 7, Windows 8, and the current version of home and office PCs known as Windows 10. Windows 9 does not exist because of the possibility that users and programs, when attempting to determine the software version, might confuse it with Windows 95 or Windows 98. Windows 10, released in 2015, offers support for desktops, laptops, and tablets. Rather than rolling out another radically different operating system in the near future, Microsoft has stated publicly that it intends to roll out incremental updates to Windows 10. So let's move on to Windows OS versions for servers. So, in addition to making software for homes and business PC users, Microsoft has long made software including versions of Windows for servers, the high-powered machines that power website and big companies. In 1993, Microsoft launched what it called Windows NT. It was an operating system designed for servers and high-powered workstations, running code separate from the DOS-based PC versions for Windows available at the time. It was designed to woo corporate users and programmers away from alternative servers operating system like the Unix and VMS families of software. Starting with Windows XP, other versions of Windows would run one code that originated in NT rather than on top of DOS. In 2000, a new server product was released called the Windows 2000 Server. Subsequent server-oriented versions of Windows would all have Windows Server in the name all the way through to Windows version, initially known as Windows Server 2016, and now simply called Windows Server. The server operating system, which generally support more powerful computers and are designed to be used multiple users at once, are designed for workloads that run in the background rather than directly interfacing with users. So let's move on to Windows OS versions for phones. Microsoft has released a number of operating systems for smartphones, and before that, for personal data assistance, the earliest versions released in the late 1990s used the brand name Windows CE for compact edition, and the devices were very low powered and simple compared for today's smartphones. Starting in the early 2000s, Windows-powered operating systems were released under the name Windows Mobile for phones and PDAs known as Pocket PCs. The first to launch with a modern smartphones app store similar to iPhone and Android offerings was Windows Mobile 6.5, which was released in 2009. The next year, the company released a new operating system that kept the numbering, but as soon Windows Phone 7 changed the word mobile to phone. It introduced a number of unique features, including tiles for individuals' apps. The software was critically well received and beloved by some users, but failed to gain traction at the level of Apple's iOS and Google's Android operating systems. Windows Phone 8, launched in 2012, was the first to share code with the company's computer. Windows software in 2014, Windows Phone 8.1 became the first to include Cortana, a voice-powered virtual, to emphasize its similarities to the desktop OS, and it's only available for a limited number of phones and isn't widely adopted. So let's move on to what is the basic components of Windows. Introduction to Windows Basics. This page discusses basic Microsoft Windows concept and terminology. It discusses how to perform some basic Windows tasks. This page is not exhaustive and will be developed as the needs arises. Some of the content is legacy and may not apply to the version of Windows you're running. Windows and its components, the main components of Windows when you start your computer, are the desktop, My Computer, Recycle Bin, Start button, Taskbar, and shortcuts to applications. After opening an application, you will also have a window with an active application which will appear in your desktop and taskbar. The following are just some of the terms used to describe the Windows desktop you are likely to run into. Most are indicated in the diagram below the list. So number 1, desktop, refers to the background of your screen on which the various programs run. Think of your computer screen as your electronic desktop. So second is icons. Icons are those small pictures on the desktop and inside folders that represent various programs, specialized folders, and etc. Next is folders. Folders are containers that can contain icons, programs, data, or other folders. Subfolders. The default folder icon looks like a manila file folder, but the look varies that with different Windows versions. System folders generally look like icons and any folder can be modified to change its appearance. The title bar refers to the bar at the top of an open window. The folder's title will tell you what the folder is used for. It contains the minimize, the maximize, and the close buttons. So you can use the title bar to move a window around. Next is cursor. Cursor is the graphic pointer which indicates where the mouse is and what sort of action is it performing. The cursor will change from the default arrow to various shapes according to the purpose it is serving at the time. So for instance, it may form an I-beam shape when you are selecting text in a document or a double arrow when you are resizing a window. Next is taskbar. Refers to the bar usually at the bottom of your Windows screen. It is movable. Containing the start button on the left and the clock are group icons on the right. Next is a scroll bar. Appears when there is more information in the window that can be displayed. This is usually a vertical scroll bar, but a horizontal scroll bar may appear if the width of the window is too narrow. Windows 10 often hides scroll bars until you hover over them. Then the next is the address bar. Tells you your location and provides the tools to navigate around your computer. These settings vary by Windows version and can be modified. So, I will continue to the next topic, the user interface or UI. The user interface or UI is the point of human-computer interaction and communication in a device. This can include displays, screens, keyboards, a mouse, and the appearance of a desktop. It is also the way through which a user interacts with an application or a website. The growing dependence of many businesses on web applications and mobile applications has led many companies to place increased priority on UI in an effort to improve the user's overall experience. A. Using mouse and moving icons on the screen. The computer's mouse controls a graphical mouse pointer or a mouse cursor on the screen. When you move the mouse around by rolling it on your desk, the pointer on the screen moves in a similar manner. Roll the mouse left and the pointer moves left. And then roll it in circles and the pointer mimics that action. Here are some of the basic mouse operations. Point when you are told to point the mouse. You move the mouse on the desktop, which moves the mouse pointer on the screen to point something interesting or not. Click. A click is a press on the mouse button. One press and release of the main button, the one on the left. This action makes a clicking sound, which is where the maneuver gets its name. Right click. Right click. This action is the same as a click, although the right mouse button is used. Double click. This one works just like the single click, although you click twice in the same spot, usually rather rapidly. And then next is drag. The drag operation is done to drastically pick up of something on the screen and move it. To do that, you point the mouse at the thing you want to drag, and then press the hold the mouse's button, which picks up the subject. The object, and then move the mouse to another location. When you move the mouse and keep the button down, the object moves. To release a drop, the object releases the mouse button. Right drag. This action is the same as a drag, but the mouse right button is used. Many of these basic mouse operations can be combined with keys on the keyboard. For example, shift click means holding down the shift key on the keyboard while clicking the mouse. Letter B, the computer icon. My computer is seen on the Microsoft Windows computers. My computer allows the user to access the local drives as a local disk, also known as the C drive. The user can also access external drives. The My Computer folder's primary purpose is to provide a shortcut Windows Explorer. You can open Windows Explorer to a system-level display by double-clicking or right-clicking and selecting Open on the My Computer folder. Windows Explorer is the tool you use to browse all files of the computer. It is commonly used to sort and store documents, pictures, music, video, files on the computer, as well as to transfer information between the computer, to unconnected devices. The system-level window displays all the hard drives, external drives, and storage cards connected to the computer. It can also display shortcuts to other computers on the network. So, I will continue the updates and restoration. The My Computer folder also provides a shortcut to a system, restoration, and system update settings. To open this window, right-click on the My Computer folder and select Properties. The Automatic Updates tab enables you to configure Windows. Update settings to automatically or manually install updates for your computer's hardware and software. The System Restore tab helps you configure and activate system restoration points for your computer. These points can be used to revert the computer to older settings in the event that Windows XP starts experiencing critical errors. So, the next is the recycle bin. Recycle bin is a location where deleted files or folders are temporarily stored in every version of Microsoft Windows since Windows 95. The recycle bin allows users to recover files that have been deleted in Windows. It is located on the desktop. The image is an example of what the recycle bin may look like in your version of Windows. In newer versions of Windows, the recycle bin icon may be hidden by default. If this icon is missing, you may need to show the recycle bin to see it on the desktop. You can hold down the Shift key when you're deleting a file to prevent it from going to recycle bin. If If you delete a file in the Windows command line, it is not sent to the recycle bin. When you delete a file or folder, that file or folder is added or sent to the recycle bin. To open the recycle bin, double-click on the recycle bin icon on the computer desktop. If done correctly, a new recycle bin window opens showing all of the files in the recycle bin. Because files are not removed. When they are moved to the recycle bin, they are still taking up hard drive space. Most people empty the recycle bin to gain extra hard drive space. And because they are sure they'll never need to recover the deleted file restored in the recycle bin. When a file or folder is deleted, it will remain in the recycle bin until you empty the recycle bin. If your hard drive is running low on disk space or has reached the recycle bin storage limit, files will start being removed from the recycle bin. The recycle bin is a window feature that could thought of as a folder on the computer that stores deleted files and folders.
Status bar in start menu and menu selection. A status bar is a graphical control element which processes information area typical found at the Windows bottom. It can be divided into sections to group information. Its job is primarily to display information about the current state of its window. Although some status bars have extra functionality and software and information about the program they are using, for example, on a web browser, the status bar shows the progress loading of web page into the browser window. A status bar is located at the bottom of Internet browser window and many application windows and displayed a current state of web page or application being displayed. For example, an early version of Internet Explorer is show whether an page was secure and certificate what was currently being loaded in the page in the web address. Menu is the list of options of commands shown or presented on display of a computer from which a user can select an operation the computer is perform. A menu may either in the system either user interface or only part of a more complex one. A menu bar is a 10 horizontal bar containing the levels of drop-down menus in an operating system. GUI, it provides the user with a standard place in the window to find the majority of programs. Although menu bars are usually present most GUIs, they may differ depending on the operating system you're using. In Microsoft Windows, the menu bar is beneath the title bar. The menu bar is window BB, underlined letter in the menu. Activity that menu choice. Below is diagram of window file menu with a description of each part of the menu. The menu key, also known as application key, is the key found on some Windows-oriented keyboards. They key usually on the bottom right of the keyboard next to the control key, but it can be placed in different locations by keyboard manufacturers. It usually depicted and cursor hovering above a menu. Some programs will also hide the file menu to keep the interface clean with this program press. We know the mouse pointer is moved to the top of the screen of scrolling up. Start menu. The Microsoft Windows Start menu is the primary location of Windows locate your installed programs and find the files of the folders by the default Start menu appears by clicking Start, which has the Windows logo on its hand located in the bottom left corner on the Windows desktop screen. The picture shows example for the Windows 7 Start menu. Start button is Team graphical user interface double button is some version of Microsoft Windows operating system that opens direction of computers, software programs, and other files. The Start menu be launched either the pressing the Windows key, the keyboard is equivalent a tablet device pressing Control on keyboard by the clicking and the visual Start button. With the expiration of Windows 8 and Windows Server 2012, the Start button can be found the taskbar. Menu selection permits to specify control and tries to by pointing and display of options. The keying associated codes the good menu indicates the current position and menu structure. The bad menu has an alternative design of the same function. This menu lacks instructions. It doesn't discuss between control actions. Options to select further menus. You have a consider menu selection for tasks that choose among the considered set of alternative action. With required data enter arbitrary data. Your users may have a lot of training, and the advantage is that your computer response menu selection is a good unter users. Menus can be used conjunctions with other dialog types depending upon task requirements. There are times when a menu selection might clarified by a supplementary question and answer dialog. Menu selection system reduce training and memorizations, simplify answer choice, and structures the user's task. However, you use menu selection and no guarantee that novice experts will be satisfied or able to carry on their work. Running application, computers except for one basic person. To run application and program performs. Some use full function. For example, there are applications that create spreadsheets, play games, and edit photos, and access email to name on only few. Computer access for a basic reason. To run application is a program that performs some useful function. For example, there are applications that create spreadsheets, play, edit photos, and access an email. To name only few, the application installed your PC determine the done business tasks you can perform it, as well the entertainment option to have able to games, movies, music, and so on. If your application requires agreements, you can enter the when you open the executable in one open executable dialog box, or you can enter in run with agreement dialog box. To run application, choose the following. Windows Explorer. Windows Explorer is the file manager used a Windows 95 and later version. It allows use to manage files, folders, and network connection, as well as search for files and related components. Windows Explorer has also gone to support with Future, a related file management such as Flying Studio and feel functionalities of Windows 4 has been enhanced with aspiration Windows. Windows Explorer replaced in the programs file and manager programs managed that were used before Windows 95. In addition, in file management, Windows Explorer also provides shell service as we manage the desktop. The Start menu, the taskbar. Windows Explorer should not be confused with Internet Explorer that performs as a browser. Windows button on the keyboard is button with the Windows logo, and then pressing the E key. Another way is by clicking the Start menu to run and then typing Explorer in the dialog box that appears. Starting Windows 8 to Revon interface with Windows Explorer. Now called File Explorer is a figure provide user with the commands needed in file management. Viewing of files, folders, and directories. In Windows 7, you use Windows Explorer to view the files and folders of systems, while there are numerous ways to open Windows Explorer. The access is to click the Windows Explorer icon on the taskbar. Other way to your files, open documents, picture, music, computer folders, that start menu. As you can see, the figure 55.1 Windows Explorer displays not only individual files, but also other folders called subfolders that contain more files. You can perform the most file-related operations by clicking the Organize button to display Organize menu for the right-clicking into File icon to display the context-sensitive pop-up menu. Number 1. Open File Explorer from the taskbar. 2. Select View Options, Change Folder and Search Options. 3. Select the View tab and Advanced Settings. Select Show Hidden Files, Folders and Drives and OK.
Creating and renaming of files and folders. What is the difference between a file and a folder? The basic difference between the two is that files store data, while folders store files and other folders. The folders, often referred to as directories, are used to organize files on your computer. The folders themselves take up virtually no space on the hard drive. How do you create a file? Number 1. Navigate to the folder or desktop. You would like to create your file, for example, My Documents. Number 2. Right-click an empty section of the folder, window, or desktop. Number 3. Select New from the context menu. Number 4. Select the type of file you'd like to create. Number 5. Enter a name for the newly created file. Open the new file to edit it. How do you create a new file folder? Method 1, Windows. Number 1. Go to the area where you want to create the folder. The easiest example is your computer's desktop, but you can create a folder anywhere on your computer. Number 2. Right-click on a blank space. Doing so opens a drop-down menu. Number 3. Select New. Number 4. Click Folder. Number 5. Type in a name for your folder and press Enter. Rename a file or folder. As with other file managers, you can use files to change the name of a file or folder. To rename a file or folder, number 1, right-click on the item and select Rename, or select the file and press F2. Number 2, type the new name and press Enter or click Rename. You can also rename a file from the Properties window. 3 ways to open PC settings on Windows 10. Way 1. Open it in the Start menu. Click the lower left Start button on the desktop to expand Start menu and select Settings in it. Way 2. Enter Settings with keyboard shortcut. Press Windows +1 on the keyboard to access Settings. Way 3. Open Settings by search. I will move on to Control Panels. The Control Panel is a component of Microsoft Windows that provides the ability to view and change system settings. It consists of a set of applets that include adding or removing hardware and software, controlling user accounts, changing accessibility options, and accessing networking settings. The control panel in the context of Windows is a software module used to perform administrative and management operating system tasks and or provide access to specific software features. The control panel is used to configure and manage almost all aspects of Windows, including keyboard and mouse functionality, users and passwords, PowerPoints, options, network settings, desktop background, display settings, sound settings, mouse settings, hardware and software options, installation and removal of programs, parental control, speech recognition, and etc. Wallpaper and screensavers. Wallpaper is the picture or background you see when you start your computer, while a screensaver runs when your computer is idle. The length of time your computer needs to be idle before the screensaver starts is determined by the user. Both can be found through the control panel, then display, or you can right-click on an empty spot on your desktop and select Properties. You can even set your wallpaper background as none if you choose, depending on the default picture viewer on your computer. You can set as wallpaper picture from the internet by simply right-clicking on the pictures. Set as wallpaper or set as background. These pictures remain on your desktop constantly and are beneath and various icons on the desktop. Screensavers are small programs which activate depending on their settings in the control panel display screensaver tab. They can be a variety of things such as animation, pictures, slideshows, and etc. In order to create a screensaver, you can save the program from various sites on the net, or you'll need to have a screensaver creation program. Setting the date and sound. Keep your system time accurate because Windows uses it to timestamp files and email, schedule tasks, and record events. If the clock doesn't appear in the notification area, right-click an empty area of the notification area. Choose Customize Notification Icons, click Turn System Icons on or off, and then turn on clock. To set the data and time, choose Start, Control Panel, Clock, Language, and Region, Date and Time, or click the clock in the taskbar notification area. Then click Change Data and Time Settings, or choose Start, type date and time in the search box, and then press Enter. On the Date and Time tab, click Change Date and Time, adjust the date and time as needed, and then click OK. You have to be an administrator to change the date or time, but not the time zone. Number 1. To set the time in the time box, type new numbers. Press the up and down arrow keys, or click the small up and down arrows. Click the small arrow at the top of the calendar to change months. Number 2. On the Date and Time tab, click Change Time Zone. Choose your time zone from the drop-down list. Sound settings. Adjusting the volume and changing the system sound setting on Windows 10 has always been a straightforward process, but you were only able to manage them using Control Panel. However, starting the Windows 10 April 2018 update, you can now manage speakers and microphone settings, and it's also possible to adjust the volume on apps and system on sound individually using the Settings app. To adjust your sound settings, number 1, press Menu, and then select Apps and More, Settings, Sound. Number 2, navigate to the settings you want to change and press OK. The option for that settings appear. And number 3, control up and down the list to select the desired option, and then press OK to set it.
Concept of menu using help. A help system, it's sometimes called a help file, is a documentation component of a software program that explains the features of program and helps the user understand its capabilities. A bit like an extensive, organized, and through collections of facts or frequently asked questions, the help system's purpose is to provide the answers that a user needs to understand to use the program effectively. In most Windows applications, pressing the F1 key opens help system for the program. Most often, help system consists a multi-part window with a program overview, an index, a contents listing, and a search capacity. What is significance of help? You can use the help menu which searches a database for answers to your questions. To access the help menu, go to the menu bar and select Help. Microsoft Word Help. Access to Word's help resources will open on the right. How to use the help menu? Select the help menu and press F1. You will see a help page about all the different subjects listed in the pull-down menu. At the top of the Collect screen, you will see Help as a menu choice. There are many subtopics listed in the menu to assist in the learning about Collect and using it to your best advantage. For your convenience, they are listed here that contents take you to the Help Contents page. Starting right takes you to the Starting Right Help page.